Welcome to another deadlift mistakes video. This mistake in the deadlift is setting up your feet too narrow or too wide in your deadlift. What that could look like is in a sumo deadlift, you're trying to set your feet way too wide and you don't have the mobility to get into a strong position for that deadlift. If you set up too wide and you don't have the mobility for it, you're going to find that you have your knees maybe collapsing to the inside during that sumo deadlift. That can cause some strain in the knee joints, and really you're going to find a low ceiling for potential strength if you don't have that mobility. So two things you could do: you could bring your stance more narrow where it doesn't require your knees and hips to go as wide in that sumo deadlift. Or you could just hammer out a bunch of mobility work to the point where maybe you can get to that wider stance sumo. Actionable steps you could take today if you don't have that mobility is to bring that stance a little bit more narrow. As a reminder, those knees should kind of be pointed towards those toes in that sumo deadlift. So if you have that really wide stance and your knees are collapsing in, your knees are not in line and stacked with your ankle joints. You're just not ready to pull from a strong position. What this looks like in a conventional deadlift is when people might set their feet up too wide. A conventional deadlift is where you have your hands outside of your thighs, but I've seen it all the time in the gym where somebody gets set up for their deadlift and it's almost like they have a squat stance, and then their arms and their hands line straight up with their shins. So that just means that you're running into your own body while trying to perform your own deadlift. So a couple solutions to that conventional deadlift stance is to just bring your hands right outside your shins, which might be just a little bit wider grip, or you could leave your hands in place and bring your feet more narrow. I prefer to line your hands up with about shoulder width and maybe your feet a little bit more narrow than that, where your hands are just outside the shins. That's the setup that I would shoot for. Another problem with the setup that is seen frequently is that you're setting the barbell too far away from the body, where you're basically pulling with that barbell lined up over your toes. This results in, when you pull on the bar will kind of like roll in towards your body, your hips probably shoot up early, and you might cap back that entire deadlift up. So don't set up too far away from that barbell. Make sure that bar is lined up with the middle of your foot, not the foot that you can see, but the entire foot as a whole, and then you can pull that barbell straight up off the floor. That is the mistake of feet positioning during the deadlift, where either your feet are too narrow, too wide, or maybe you're setting up with that barbell too far away from the body. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out the other mistakes video, because you probably aren't too great at deadlifts if you're watching my content right now.